How many times have we heard these dialogues from our elders? Haven't we raised kids? Don't we know what to do? Do you have to tell us everything? Exactly. That is what we are going to discuss about in this episode. Raising kids back in that generation and raising kids now is very, very different. And with the amount of awareness that we have today, it is our responsibility to break certain cycles. Let's see what those cycles are and how we can break them. Hey mommies! We know you're tired and you're here for a reason.
We are two moms just looking to unwind after a long day. So come join our rants and let's make this journey a little less lonely, one episode at a time.
Welcome to our podcast, Mom vs. World.
So the other day I was trying to get dad to turn off the TV when the kids are around, but he just wouldn't budge. I was trying to explain to him how that might have an effect on them, that they might get addicted to TV time, and all the content lately is just so much bad influence and so inappropriate for children. But he thought it was not a big deal. He was trying to tell me that I was overreacting. And at that moment, I just didn't know how to prove it that there will be consequences in the future if you watch wrong things or if you watch too much TV. But I don't know, how do we tell anyone that this thing will affect your children later?
Yeah, I have the same issue with sugar. Like whenever somebody gives something to my son to eat, I immediately ask them, is there sugar in it or is it store bought? And they look at me as if I am overreacting or overacting or something.
Yeah.
They are like, we are not giving him poison, just chill. But I cannot chill. I mean, I don't know. If it was my husband or my parents or my in-laws, I can sit them and make them understand about the consequences and after effects. But if it is a relative or a family friend, you don't always have that time or energy to make them understand, right? So however I react, it looks like I am arrogant or something.
Yeah, I mean, I was under the impression until recently that since this whole thing about sugar and screen time, etc., is all over the social media, everybody's talking about the after effects, the dangers of these, and how it impacts your kids. So I thought everybody has become strict about these things, but apparently not. There are still a lot of people who are not so particular about these certain rules.
I know. Even I am surprised to realize how so few people are actually conscious about what they're feeding their child or what they're showing their child. I mean, it's all over social media, and you would think everybody knows that. Everybody is aware of all those things that we see. But only now I realize maybe we are the target audience for that particular content because we already watched that content.
Sense. Yeah.
And not everybody is seeing that content, obviously.
Probably.
Yeah. But I am not only talking about old generation, but even today's generation, today's parents are also the same way. I mean, I don't know if they're not aware of the consequences or they are aware but they chose to ignore it.
I think maybe we take it from our parents in a way, because most of our parents didn't have the habit of listening to their doctors. Yeah. Doctors used to suggest back then to cut down on oily food, don't eat too much sugar, this is bad for your cholesterol, this is bad for that and this. But they never took them seriously, and I think that's just continuing to us also, because today pediatricians are telling you, stressing on this very seriously. Every doctor appointment they're telling you some or the other thing. But I don't think our older generation, and like you said, most of our today's generation parents are also not taking that very seriously.
Yeah, and despite of having many health issues themselves, they just say, Papam, just let him eat one laddu or one biscuit. I want to scream and tell that he will become Papam later on when we are not around. That's the actual Papam.
Yeah. That's true. They somehow never want to make that connection that their actions today are going to affect their children later. But they do that with other aspects. Like, for example, we are girls and we remember how our parents were so skeptical about us talking to boys and having too many friends. They believed that all those things would ruin our careers, our
yeah.
future, marriages, etc. But somehow they don't apply the same logic to bad eating habits and other lifestyle choices.
Yeah, even the junk food we feed our kids outside. I mean, whenever I go to a mall or a restaurant, I see 1 year old, 2 year old kids eating fries and samosas and whatnot.
Yeah, even I see that a lot. There are so many researches, surveys done on these lately, and those things clearly state that limiting sugar for the first 1,000 days of life can reduce the chances of diabetes and early obesity in children. I mean, I don't know. I hear this everywhere now, but I don't think it's spread wide enough because we
Yeah.
still see a lot of people not taking that very seriously.
Yeah. Even when we were kids, we used to consume sugar. And I remember we used to drink 2 glasses of milk every day with a spoonful of sugar and Horlicks on
Yeah,
top
yeah.
of it. But I still think today's generation kids are consuming more sugar because
Right.
they have access to all these chocolates or biscuits or whatever. They can just order it online. A little older kids or younger kids just keep receiving chocolates and stuff from relatives.
Yeah, and
or
parents don't have much
whoever.
control in a lot of.
And needless to say, sugar is also hidden everywhere in all the products these days. Like, take ketchup or fruit juices, everything has sugar now, and we should be extra cautious now more than ever.
Yeah, we are so addicted to sugar, and not just sugar. There are a lot of ingredients that are harmful, and let's not even go there because that's a whole other rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, if we tell the word addicted to our parents, like I am addicted to sugar, they'll be like, "What, addicted? What kind of words are you using?" But that is the blunt reality, right?
For sure, that is the reality, and
Yeah, we
they
are all
think we are
addicts.
fine. But I myself have so much sugar craving, I cannot control it myself. And with being adults, having access to everything, it's just become impossible to cut down and maintain a good diet. We have so many issues today like PCODs, fatty liver, our risk of cancer is just skyrocketing lately, and we are already all on a path to diabetes and obesity. I mean, how many people around you that you know that you can say that are in a good shape and perfectly healthy?
Hardly any.
Exactly, like everybody we know in their mid 30s or 40s, they are slightly a little bit overweight and they have at
Belly
least
fat
one
or-
at least one or two issues like back pain or this.
Yeah, now it's rare to find a fit person.
Yeah.
If there is a fit person in a crowd, people will ask them, okay, what do you do
Yeah.
to look like this, to be fit? But that is supposed to be normal
Yeah.
in reality. And we normalized this condition of being fat or having belly fat or having at least one disease.
Yeah.
We just normalized that, and it doesn't seem to be a big deal.
And if you think about millennials, in our 20s, we were all fit because
Yeah.
we could metabolize everything. But that's because our lifestyle, we didn't have that much access to junk and sugar like our kids today have it. So imagine, I think our kids, if this prolongs, they will all also be very unhealthy by the time they hit 20s itself.
Yeah, true. So it is our responsibility to break this cycle in particular.
Yeah, and not only sugar, there is also screen time, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a big thing as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Virtual autism has become a big thing now. I mean, pediatricians confirm that virtual autism is caused due to excess screen time and these high stimulating shows like Cocomelon and I don't know what.
Oh, I'll tell you how Cocomelon is usually made. I read this somewhere. So, in the making process, they make their content already, which is bright colors and very stimulating kind of animations, etc., that are attractive to kids. But not only that, when they do make their content, the testing process is where it gets interesting. So they make a bunch of children sit and watch the content that they've made, and then on the side they also play something a little bit of a low stimulating video as well, like a dad playing with a child in a garden, real people. So they make sure that they monitor every second of how the child is watching the show, and even if for 1 second the child's eyes are getting diverted to the other video, then they note down that this is where we need to work on, and they repair that part. And they do this for the entire video, 3 minute, 4 minute, or however long that song or video is. And they make sure that not even for a single second the kid is moving their eyes away from the screen. So that's how they make sure.
That sounds so evil.
Exactly.
They are literally hypnotizing the kid.
Yeah.
I know, I've seen a few kids, they just don't respond. If we are screaming for them, like shouting at them,
Yeah.
they just can't hear you.
True. And not just that, I see a lot of kids just casually scrolling on their phones today. I mean, that's also got to be a bad thing. I understand that sometimes parents do have a difficult time and they do give that leeway. But I myself have so much issues with mindless scrolling and endless online shopping and all these things whenever I have my phone. So I think, I mean, imagine what it does to a kid if I'm unable to control it with my busy schedule. What will it do to a kid with so much free time? So scrolling on your phone for little children, that's definitely another cycle to break.
Yeah, another important cycle that most people don't talk about or even think about is emotional regulation. Mental well being was not really a thing back then when we were kids. I mean, our parents never thought about raising a mentally matured child. But
Yeah, it was
now-
all about making sure the kid was performing well in school. That's as far as it goes when it comes to mental growth for our parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not emotional well-being. That's a whole other thing. Our parents do believe that they have done everything perfectly. It's very hard to convince them otherwise. But I'm definitely sure that we are not so mentally mature and emotionally stable.
Not even close.
Yeah, exactly. We have a lot of issues that we are still dealing with. This is not to blame our parents because they have done everything they could coming out of all that struggle, and for all the awareness and knowledge that they had about bringing up children. They've done a great job, which I absolutely respect for sure. But if you think about it, yelling and beating and all these things were common. And not just that, it's about how they treated us in front of other kids and relatives. The things they said to us, even if it's not yelling and beating, all those things had an impact on us that we know right now. Right now we have those little trauma responses every now and then, all those issues.
We are so insecure
Yeah.
and underconfident. Even today, we still try to prove ourselves to our parents.
Yeah.
Even in our 30s, we're
True.
still doing things to impress our parents. And us millennials have so many other issues, mental issues. We don't know how to regulate our emotions. We lack self-awareness. We don't understand our self-worth. We don't know how to set boundaries. And we are so vulnerable to everything around us. I mean, we get so easily influenced with just watching a reel. Like, we make a life decision based on that influence. That's how
Yeah.
stupid we are. And we always keep falling into this trap of happiness being elsewhere in the future or at another place, and we keep chasing for it even
True.
today.
I think even these ideas, these big things in life, right? Like love, relationships, marriage, and things like that, especially, I think we have very weird negative perspectives on those. Our opinions are purely coming out of fear or an idea of rebellion or something like that, but we don't have a positive outlook where you want to seek those things for the sake of your happiness. Like you said, we have it all completely wrong, I feel. But now we are realizing that, oh my god, this is how you look at life and look at these certain things, important aspects in life.
Yeah, so moms, if you think otherwise, if you think you turned out fine, maybe consider you're in denial about these issues.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not our doing exactly. I would say nobody has to blame themselves here because the biggest pandemic we have today is bad influence from everywhere. Everything, every company in the outside world is trying to manipulate you, trying to brainwash you, and trying to sell something to you basically. And we are just too distracted to see it, most of us. So we need to really be very cautious about what's entering our minds lately.
I know it's easy to judge other moms and other parents, and that is not what we are trying to do. That's the last thing we want to do. We ourselves are learning the process of breaking these cycles. So we know most of us do certain things out of necessity or at times of weaknesses, but I think it is absolutely worth the extra effort that we put in to break these cycles. And we should consider ourselves lucky to be aware of everything around us and the amount of information that we have. We should take advantage of it. Let's not pass on those inherited bad patterns and habits to our children. Let's break those cycles. After all, we all want our children to have better lives than we ever did.
I really hope we could resonate with you because every feeling is valid in motherhood. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow us for more such content.